to The Green Pretenders,
a sustainably challenged podcast.
That was my friend Simon.
And this is my friend Sian.
And this episode we are talking about shopping in charity shops, those absolute gold mines of fashion.
Yes!
I love charity shops so much.
Me too.
We're both really passionate about charity shops.
Really passionate.
So hopefully, if you're not already, we might be able to convince you by the end of this episode.
Sian, why is it good to shop at a charity shop?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Let's start with the obvious. Charity shop shopping is good because there is already a finite amount of clothes in the world that will cover all of our backs. If we found all of the clothes in the world right now and gathered them together, that would be enough to last everyone forever.
We'd have, and not even just last everyone, like, we'd all be fashionable.
Yeah, we'd have so much to wear.
So much to wear, and we could share and we could swap. Yeah, there's enough clothes.
So charity shop shopping is important because it takes our money and our custom away from the high street stores that are just churning out more and more clothes that we don't actually need.
That are not produced in this country and that are actually exploiting other people in less fortunate areas of the world.
Yes, and instead we are purchasing an item of clothing that already existed and that needs a good home. So it is a really sustainable choice, and also it can be great fun and a real talking point.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first thing that you ever bought from a charity shop?
Oh my god. It must have been... It was probably a DVD. Probably it was actually a DVD. Yeah, I used to be mad into... Now no one has DVDs anymore, apart from charity shops.
They have loads, don't they? They have shelves and shelves of them. And I often think of buying one and then I realise I don't have a DVD player
even, yeah.
And then I just look at the titles and then make a note to go home and try and watch the film on Netflix.
Which is kind of sustainable.
Yeah, they've now become a kind of library.
Yeah.
Of just look at the DVD and take the idea home.
Yeah.
I think I mainly think about clothes now when I think about charity shops, but obviously you can get your DVDs, your books, your homeware.
Yeah, your kitchenware, your crockery, all of that.
Did you used to buy DVDs regularly from charity shops?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I was a film freak. I loved films and I just wanted to have it. I needed to have it at home, even though some of them I watched once. Some of them I didn't even get to watch before I had to give them away. It was really, I started to downsize a lot when I moved to the UK. But charity shops here are great. And in the UK, I really started to regularly shop at charity shops.
Do you still buy DVDs?
No, I don't buy DVDs anymore. I don't have a DVD player. And I think things like Netflix and stuff have made a huge difference, yeah.
I'm more of a clothes buyer in charity shops, but also the homeware sections. I do love to find the most sort of obnoxious, ugly toilet roll holder or something that you think has been around for 50 years. I enjoy that element of it as well.
It's always a little bit of a window into the past, isn't it, a charity shop?
Yeah, and that is one of the many beauties of it, because you get to own something that was pre-loved, hopefully. Yeah. And when they have been pre-loved, I think that's honouring someone to give their item of clothing or their possession a new lease of life. And I love it, thinking someone loved this before. Maybe they wore it at a party that was the best night of their life. Or maybe they wore it on the day that they, got the new job that changed their life forever. And that item of clothing was meaningful. And now I can honour it and give it new meaning.
Yeah.
And that's like turning clothes into some kind of fairy tale. I know it's ridiculous, but I do enjoy it.
No, but I think it's beautiful because also you give the item more value. And that I think that is such a thing that we do nowadays, that things become so meaningless and so throwaway. We're such a throwaway culture. And I think, that idea changes that a little bit.
You're so right, because something has the value that you imbue it with. So when I take these second-hand clothes that I have decided have this long and rich romantic history, and to me they're valuable, I see myself looking after them better.
Yeah.
So I wash them more carefully, I make sure to hang them up. I am worried if they get a stain, I try and repair them more carefully and intricately. Whereas a t-shirt that I bought from H&M, you'll find that rolled up in a ball on my floor. You will. I will scrunch it up, throw it into the corner of the room. I don't care if it shrinks in the wash, all of that crap, because I haven't given it any value.
Yeah, because it has no value.
Yeah. And therefore you enter this cycle of needing to throw it away because it becomes useless because you don't care for it and you don't treat it well.
Yeah.
What's your favourite thing that you've bought from a charity shop, clothes-wise?
I can now only think of a shirt that it's like beige and has green dots on it. I think I've worn it in the summer, and that is a great one. I love that one. I have many shirts. I think shirts is sort of my go-to item in charity shops. Everyone has a go-to item in charity shops, no? Mine is shirts, and I love a good like crazy pattern from the 70s. I'd like to think it's from the 70s. Yeah.
How much do you think you spend on average on a shirt in a charity shop?
On average, probably £3.
Yes.
Because some of them are like £1, and then some of them are a fiver. So,
yeah. And that's amazing for something that's unique and interesting and nice, probably good quality as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because it has to be good quality to last, to then end up in a charity shop.
Right. So an item of an equivalent quality from a high street shop, I would imagine would be on average like 40 quid nowadays.
Yeah.
So not only have you got something unique and nice and interesting, but you've also saved yourself probably on average like 35 quid per purchase.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
It's so good. What is yours?
My favourite charity shop item?
Yes.
I think that probably about 60% of my most regularly worn items of clothing have come from charity shops. So I've got a lot of favourites. But if I had to tie them down, I've got a shirt which is a sort of silky high neck. It's quite a unique shape, and it's these sort of green and orange and yellowy autumnal colours. And I love it so much. And the best thing about it is that I saw it in a charity shop through the window, and I said to someone who I was with, I love the look of that shirt, and they said, ew, no, that's really ugly. And I said, oh yeah, you're right. But in my head I was thinking, no, it's not. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So I nearly didn't buy it, but later I went back and snuck back to the shop and I bought it.
Yes.
And since then it's become one of my most favourite items of clothing, and I think it was maybe £4.50, and it is just so beautiful. I've also got similarly like a long patterned purple skirt that I wear all the time in summer, and again is one of my favourite things ever, and that probably cost me like £3. They were both vintage specifically, which I think is a really lucky find because the quality is going to be better, and often they just are unique vintage items, aren't they? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean to say that you have to spend all of your charity shop time trawling the shelves for vintage gems. Like, vintage shopping is a different thing, and you're lucky if you find a vintage item in a charity shop. That's great. It's like the holy grail. But also there's decent stuff, like, you know, an M&S pair of trousers, or
I think, yeah, that's such a good point. Do you sometimes buy like high street brands in charity shops?
I definitely do, especially if they're just really good basic items that you know you're going to use. A pair of plain blue jeans. There'll be options in a charity shop from the shops that you would have bought them from you anyway.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yes, I do too. And I think that's such a good point. I think at some point I told myself, if you need something, check all the charity shops in your area first, and then go into a regular shop and buy it. Buying new should be a last resort.
And it's fair that if people's limit of their last resort is different. It's completely fair if, for example, an event has come up last minute and you've only got 2 hours to find a specific item of clothing that you absolutely need. Yeah. In that case, people don't have the time to go around charity shops. I get it. And in that case, if your last resort is rushing to the nearest shop or doing like an ASOS next day delivery, then that's fine. I think, is it fair to say, as long as that is a rare occasion and not our norm? Because I think for some people, the norm is the ASOS next day delivery in bulk. And that's where it's like really scary.
Yeah.
I feel confident that for my average general wardrobe, there's nothing that I wouldn't be able to find in a charity shop other than maybe underwear. And is that a sticking point? Oh, sticking point. I don't know if that's the right wording to use there, but yeah. Have you ever bought underwear secondhand?
No, I have not. And it's not to say that I wouldn't if it genuinely looked in a good condition. Charity shops often don't have underwear, do they? Yeah,
I can't think that I've even ever seen it. Maybe if it had the tags on, then I'd feel perfectly happy doing that.
Yeah.
Buying underwear. But I don't think I've even ever seen that to have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. What about swimwear? Is that the same thing?
Similar thing, I guess. Although weirdly, Swimwear strikes me as less of a hygienic minefield. And I don't know why, because it's touching the exact same body parts.
Yeah.
So weirdly, I psychologically wouldn't even question it, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Now, when you go charity shopping, do you like take a lot of time, or do you sort of nip into charity shops on your way to work, or not to work? Maybe it's too early. But like,
sorry to my employer for all the times I've been late. It's probably not untrue. Both, and I think they're both equally fun ways of doing it. I love the like grab and dash version of charity shop shopping. It's like you just nip into one, have a look around, see if any colours or patterns or materials are catching your eye, just maybe grab something. Or that luxurious long Sunday afternoon where you're just wandering from charity shop to charity shop and just seeing what's out there. I love both of those.
And where do you think the best? So what's your favourite charity shop?
Okay, I live near Wood Green Tube Station, and on Wood Green High Road, this is in North London, there is a charity shop called Trade, which is a chain. It's TRAID, and the selection is amazing, and that is absolutely my favourite long Sunday afternoon browse the shelves. So if you're at all worried about the selection on offer at a charity shop, maybe see if there is a Trade near you.
Yeah.
And that's a good starting point, because it's kind of a segue. It actually feels more like a vintage shop / high street shop in a way.
Yeah.
Do you have a fave?
So I think mine is Mind. There is one in Dalston, which is where I live in northeast London, and there's also one in Stoke Newington, which actually is on the same high street.
So you've got two within walking distance.
Walking distance, and I just love it. And what I love about charity shopping is that you're supporting a charity. In that case, Mind is a charity that I value, and I think they're doing important stuff. But I also think Mind has really good shirts. They always have really good shirts, and I always know that if I haven't been in for a few weeks, there'll be something new and exciting.
Okay, I've just had a crackpot theory. You like the idea of shopping in Mind. You also get good shirts in Mind. Maybe like-minded people to you also support the charity Mind, so they donate their clothes to Mind, and their shirts are the shirts that you like because you're similar people.
Oh my god!
It took me a while to get there, but do you see where I'm going with
Yes,
that?
absolutely.
So like maybe
Yeah, totally.
they're also kind of, young, trendy, millennial legends.
That's what I am. Yeah, that could well be.
Tangent.
But good one. A good tangent. I like it.
And so that's where you've got your nice shirt that you mentioned earlier. Did you get that from a Mind?
No, I actually got that from a South London charity shop, which, if you live north of the river, especially in North London, you rarely ever come down to South London.
Yeah.
It was somewhere, Bermondsey, I think, area. Really cool shop. Really different from the sort of East London ones. And, the lady was a legend. Like, she was the lady who was working there. She was so great. And I bought this. I wanted to buy this like Snoopy bowl, and because I bought 3 shirts and they were each £3, I just got the bowl for free.
Oh.
She just put it on top.
She liked you.
Yeah, she did like me.
Oh, that's so sweet. Do you still have that Snoopy bowl?
I do, because it's a stainless steel bowl. So it's it's plastic outside, but inside it's not. So love it.
That's so great, and what an interesting item. You wouldn't be able to get a stainless steel Snoopy bowl just
like that
off the shelf. That is interesting that they're different in different areas, because I think when you look online, they'll tell you to go to quite affluent areas to do your charity shopping.
Yeah.
With the idea in mind that maybe very rich people are dropping off their designer gear.
Exactly.
So I've heard, people going, oh yeah, go to charity shopping in Kensington or whatever. But I think actually once those areas become known hotbeds of where you can maybe get really expensive things in charity shops, they just hike up the prices.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends what you're doing it for. If you want to get really affordable clothes secondhand, then those areas are probably ones to actually avoid for charity shops. But if you're in the mood for searching for like a designer label that will be a slash price compared to what it would be new, then head to Chelsea, my friend.
To Chelsea, yeah. Do your shopping there.
Yeah.
I don't think I would. I'm not necessarily that. That's not my style. So I think I'm much more of a. But I actually, yeah, I think for me going to South London is always really interesting because it's similar to East London, but maybe the prices are more relaxed.
More relaxed prices. That's such a nice way of putting it. Our prices are very relaxed. They're not so uptight like other places. One thing I wanted to talk about and linked into charity shopping is these apps and things where you can still buy secondhand clothing, but with the ability to narrow down what you're looking for. Because I think a big challenge for a lot of people is the idea that you couldn't possibly ever find anything you like or want in a charity shop. And I think me and you have quite fluid fashion senses.
Yeah.
I think because we're more willing to wear anything, it maybe doesn't matter so much. Like, we'll find something, it looks nice, yes, I'll buy that secondhand.
Yeah.
But I guess I understand that for some people that have a really strong sense of what they want in an item of clothing, charity shopping would be like a nightmare. So in case people haven't used these things before, I'd recommend things like Vinted or Depop or even eBay, because the concept is the same, but you have the ability to narrow down by tag words or categories or size. And so you can, hone in on what you actually want and need, but still do the good thing of buying it secondhand and not perpetuating this fashion industry cycle of buy, wear, throw away, buy, wear, throw away. So yeah, check out the apps if charity shopping doesn't feel like it's up your street.
Alright, so I think we're going to come round to our eco whoop and eco poop of this episode. Sian, what is your eco whoop?
My eco whoop. This is a nice local one for me, and it might not be true for everyone, but I found out that my local council supplies me with compostable food waste bags for free. So actually just down the road from my favourite charity shop that I mentioned earlier, Trade, the local library for me in Wood Green, you can just go there with your utility bills or whatever to prove your address, and they'll give you your compostable bags for free. And I didn't know that. They didn't widely advertise it. So it's something that I just happened upon online. And before that, I was buying compostable bags, which is totally fine. I'm willing to spend that money, but it's even better if it's accessible and provided by a council. And so big up Haringey Council, whoop whoop. Woo-hoo. And big up my purse strings that don't need to buy them, whoop whoop. And big up anyone who chooses to do that too, whoop whoop. What's yours?
That's brilliant. Mine is a bag as well.
Oh.
Yes.
It's as if we planned it. We actually didn't plan it.
It's true. So bring a bag. Bring a bag. A bag. It can be your favourite tote bag that you've had since you were a child. It was given to you at birth, ideally. Or it can be a plastic bag that you use again and again and again and again and again and again until you might have to throw it away. But you bring a bag. I think that's my eco whoop. Go
everywhere.
Everywhere. So I shop at the market a lot because I'm lucky enough to live right next to Ridley Road Market in Dalston. It's a brilliant market, and the marketeers, the market people, they are so ready to give you like 3 bags because you have 3 different types of veg. But I bring a bag and I just hold it up against them, and I'm like a child, and I'm like, please, like, fill this bags with your goods. And I think we could do that way more. Like, always have a bag. I aim to always have, like a tiny folded plastic bag in my pocket, just in case, because so often, in true Green Pretender manner, I've failed and then had to get a bag because I had so much shopping. And if you have at least one bag on you at all times, I think that'd be a good thing. And you can actually get those things. I'm not necessarily encouraging you to buy one, but maybe there's something we can make where you can put a bag into something like the inside of a Kinder Egg and put it on your keyring.
A keyring bag.
Keyring bag.
Yeah, so then you literally don't even have to remember the process of putting it in your pocket or in your rucksack or whatever. It's on your keys all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. Bring a bag.
Bring a bag.
Eco poop. What's yours?
So my eco poop for this episode goes in the fashion category, but not only fashion, it's sale culture. We live in such a sale culture, and it's so insane because there's always a sale going on. And poor people like me are drawn to bargains. Like, I'm a bargain hunter. I'm not going to lie. Like, I love a good bargain.
You are thrifty.
I am thrifty, and, you know, I'm always like, well, you know, it's so cheap, forgetting that I'm perpetuating this culture of sale and throw out these things for no money just to produce more and just to sell more. And it's insane. And that's such a big pile of poop.
Yeah. I often think with sales that people should just look at an item and really take a moment with yourself to say, would I buy this if it was full price?
Yes.
And if the answer's no, definitely not, you don't need it and you probably don't even want it that much, but what you're more attracted to is the red label and they're drawing you in. So draw yourself back out, take the power.
Draw yourself out. Go into a charity shop. They actually rarely ever do sales because they don't need to do sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's, you know, it's sales are so stressful as well because people or brands or whatever, they tell you the time is running out. Like, this sale is only going to be until, and people get stressed. And I think it's so unnecessary.
I went to a closing down sale recently of a big high street brand. I think it was Forever 21. The big one on Oxford Street seemed to be closing down entirely. And they had a big closing down sale and it was like everything, £1 or £2 or less. And I walked into that shop and it was like entering the apocalypse because there were clothes strewn across the floor at ankle height and you literally had to wade through clothes that had just been torn off of the hangers and thrown on the floor and everything was mismatched and everything was dirty. And I was like, oh my God, I've literally entered the 7th level of hell. It was so terrifying.
And this is what we said earlier, isn't it? There's no value. These items don't have any value. We treat them like poop.
Yeah. And one thing I did want to say earlier, I wanted to give a shout out to my nana because she gave me a lot of her clothes. And they are clothes that I equate it to what I was saying about the value of clothes in charity shops. But her clothes, I mean, they're fantastic for one thing. She was a fashionable lady. And I will treasure those clothes forever because they're now what I have to remember her by. And so, yeah, just want to double down on the idea of valuing your clothes and entering into a cycle of valuing them, and then they will last and serve you better. And tying that into a shout out to my nana. Thank you. On to eco poop for me.
Yes, we haven't heard yours.
My eco poop is the fact that I cannot do with food what I do with clothes. I take the time to find the clothes that are, you know, good choices, sustainable choices. But with food, hell no. Because if I'm in a rush or if I'm on my lunch break or if I'm just hungry right there and then, find it really hard to just take a step back and work out a solution. So I'm very much a grab and go prepackaged sandwich kind of gal. And that is my eco poop, my frustration with myself. And every time I go through the process, I'll stare at the sandwiches and go, no, because you always feel guilty after you do this. Just take a step back, look around, see if there's any other way to get food or sustenance that does not involve this item. And every time I'm like, but I just need it. So I buy it anyway, and then I resent myself for it, and it's all a big drama. Ugh, the daily drama, it's just exhausting. So that's my eco poop.
Yeah. I think that's it's so difficult. It's really difficult. I get that sometimes as well. And I try and pre-plan my lunches and stuff like that, but sometimes you just can't. And then I could physically go hungry. I could. I'm not like, I'm well fed. You know, I have 3 meals a day at least. And I could just skip one and be like, Simon, this is a lesson for you to learn. But I don't do that.
Exactly.
I'm just like, whatever.
Our willpower is just not there,
It's
apparently.
not there.
When it comes to food, at least. So yeah, if you've got any hot tips on that, how to either ignore the hangry monster in our bellies, or what you do, what's your go-to solution, then let us know. And let us know if you also have some charity shop buys. We'll be posting on social media, I think, our favourite charity shop buys just to show them off. And we'd love to see yours too.
Yes. Where can people see us?
Well, they can see us on Twitter
At Green Pretenders.
They can see us on Instagram.
At Green Pretenders.
They can see us on Facebook.
At Green Pretenders.
Or they can email us.
thegreenpretenders@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear from you. But for now, just remember, the pod is always greener.